Hi y'all, this is Larry from Deep South Texas, and today we're going to make some super fast, super easy homemade bread. And we will be making this bread with all-purpose flour. Now, sometimes I get comments on my bread making videos that, oh, that's too much work, that's too much messing around, that takes too long. So today, this recipe is just super fast. In fact, it's so fast, you could probably have this bread out of the oven before you could get back from the grocery store to buy some. So let's get started. So in the interest of speed, I will be using an electric mixer today, but this can be done by hand kneading as well. So first off, we have 3½ cups of all-purpose flour. And that is 560 grams. And to that I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of instant yeast. And that is 10 grams. Now, I'm using instant yeast, and that allows me to just pour that yeast right into the flour. If you're using dry active yeast, you need to activate that yeast first. So follow the directions on your package. That will add 10 or 15 minutes, but this goes real fast. Now we'll add 1.5 teaspoons of salt, which is 10 grams, and 1 teaspoon of sugar, which is 6 grams. And then we're going to put this in the electric mixer and get that all mixed together. And we'll just get that all stirred together for about a minute. Now we'll change the attachment on our mixer, and we'll add water and oil. So for water, I have 1½ cups or 380 grams, and for oil, I have 1½ tablespoons or 14 grams of olive oil. And that water was just warm to the touch. We'll let that mix up for a minute, and then we'll put on the dough hook. Now we'll just let that run with the dough hook for 5 to 6 minutes. Again, at this point, you could knead this by hand instead of using the dough hook, but it probably would take about 10 minutes. So this is just a little bit faster. So we've been kneading that dough for 6 minutes. It's time to take it out and get it on a breadboard. So let's just put a little bit of flour on this board, not very much. And then before we move the dough out, I want to, I have a piece of plastic wrap here that I'm going to use a little bit later. And I'd like to just get the surface floured a little bit so when I cover the dough with it, it doesn't stick to the dough. Okay, now let's roll this dough out onto our breadboard here. Seems a little bit sticky today, I think, because it's sprinkling outside a little bit. Humidity is high. Let's get just a little bit of dough on my, or flour on my hands. And just fold it a couple times. Forgot my scraper here. Just fold it a couple times to kind of shape it up. We're going to get it into a ball. Sprinkle a little flour on the top. And then we're going to cover it with that plastic wrap that I floured a little bit ago. And we're going to let that set for 10 minutes. So right now, coming out of the stand mixer, the kneading process has gotten that gluten all kind of tight. We just want it to let it release a little bit so we can shape this bread up. So we'll let that set for 10 minutes. And while that dough is resting, I have a small Pyrex pan here that I've about 3/4 filled with water. I'm going to put this in the microwave and heat it up for 3 minutes, because once the bread is formed into the loaf, we're going to put that loaf in the microwave with this hot water to try to keep it warm and let it rise a little faster. Our 10-minute rest period is up, and while I was waiting, I buttered my my loaf pan. The loaf pan is 9.5 inches long, 5.5 inches wide, and 3 inches deep. Now it's time to shape our loaf. Just flip it over. And spread it out a little bit. Make sure it's not sticking to the bottom. Don't want it to stick at this point. And let's make our loaf. So we're going to fold it into a sort of a trapezoid shape. And we want the wide end of that trapezoid to be just about as wide as our pan. So that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. So now we're just going to roll this up, pinching it in as we roll. And get that final bottom seam pinched together. going to put that in our pan. Now, we're going to put our floured plastic wrap over top of this, and then we're going to put it in the microwave that has the hot water in it and close the door. And we're going to let this rise for 35 minutes. So at this point, we have about 15 minutes worth of actual labor into this and a 10-minute rest period. So we're 25 minutes in. Now we're going to let it rise for 35 minutes. Now remember, the microwave is not on. The loaf of bread is just setting in the microwave with the bowl of hot water just to provide heat so that it rises a little bit faster. Now in about 10 minutes, I am going to turn on my oven and start preheating it to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So our bread has been rising for 35 minutes. It's time to get this in the oven. Now the oven has been preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. The bread is out of the oven and it looks pretty good. Now I've got about a teaspoon of melted butter here. I'm just going to put some on the top to try to keep that crust a little bit softer. Looks like I got one bubble there. There, looks pretty good. Let's get this out on a cooling rack and take a closer look. There, it comes right out. All right. We'll let that cool down for a little bit. And here it is. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. It's got this one big bubble here. That's because we're in a hurry, and that's the way that works. So if we'd have let it rise twice, we probably wouldn't have had that happen, but that won't be any problem. It won't affect the taste. It will be good. Pretty happy with the outcome. Well, it's been about 15 minutes since this came out of the oven. It should really wait a half an hour to an hour, but I don't know anybody that makes their own bread that waits that long because it is so good when it's warm. So let's cut a slice here. Take a look at the inside, the crumb. And give it a taste. It slices a little bit better when it's cooler, by the way. So that's what the inside looks like. Not bad for bread that's only took 45 minutes, or an hour and 45 minutes to make. Again, there's been about 15 minutes of real work involved, and a total time of 145 minutes. I mean, an hour and 45 minutes, so pretty good. Let's taste it. So here it is. Tastes just great. Tastes just great. So this super fast bread is really easy to make. Said an hour and 45 minutes, and only 15 minutes of that is actual work. So pretty simple to make. It's not quite as pretty as some of the other bread you spend a little bit more time on, but it tastes just as good. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.